Welcome to the One Love, One Faith podcast, where we use the love of Christ and faith in His Word to navigate Christian living in the 21st century. Remember to follow us on social media at onelove_onefaith.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Welcome to the One Love, One Faith podcast.
I'm Camille,
And I'm Arinthia.
and we're glad that you're here.
Yes. So, Camille, we are
Yes.
on the 15th episode.
Oh, it's crazy.
It is crazy. Ah! Okay. Sorry. All right. But we also got some feedback for last week's episode.
Yeah.
People enjoyed it. We got some shout out, and we just want you to know that we hear you guys. My mom actually said that this one was fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
forgiveness.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we're happy that you guys are enjoying them. Like I said, don't forget to send in your suggestions. Okay?
Yes, please, please, please.
Yes. So,
Mm-hmm.
get to know us.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Get to know you question.
So, get to know you question. Who is your favorite gospel artist? Or,
Favorite Christian artist?
yeah.
Yeah. I can't tell you. I don't have a favorite. There's so many. There's so many different styles. I can't pick a favorite. But what I will do, I'll tell you who I'm currently discovering. Okay, so there's I don't know how the One Love Nation feels about Christian rap. I know that some people might be on the fence about rap's place in
Yeah.
Christian music.
You know.
But there's a rapper called Karen the Light, and so I've been listening to him lately, and I like it. So I'm
Okay,
just gonna
friend.
drop that right there. Go check him out. You know, I like him.
Karen, you're getting free promos over here, okay?
Free bro.
Don't get used to it. Okay?
Yeah, I like him. But please don't ask me to give a favorite. I can't do it.
If it's not Trevor Noah, she
First
doesn't
of all.
have a favorite.
I just want let the record show I didn't bring Trevor up. Anyway, go ahead.
This time.
This time.
This minute, because you brought him up a couple minutes ago, but that's none of their business. All right.
Who's your favorite?
So I think my favorite all time.
Oh wow, you're going there like all time.
I can't. Okay, not all time. I would say that when I came to America, I've been digging Ty Tribbett. Like, he has my vibe.
Yeah, you always talk about him.
Like, Ty is always on 100, and I'm always on 100.
True that.
So his music is fire.
Okay.
But I do like Jonathan McReynolds and Mali. Mali is underrated.
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like he's underrated. But dude is mad talented. He's so good. And I love them. And they have a new song. Well, not new. It's from his People's album.
Yeah.
Moving On and Best Thing. Two of my legit favorite.
Favorite songs.
So,
okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay. We might have to put out like a blast out there in the social media world, like put like, someone versus someone. Like, I don't know.
People always say
Ty
Ty
versus-
versus this, but I feel like Ty is going to murder all of them.
That's why. So we should use Ty versus someone and see if the One Love Nation agrees with you.
Ty is sick, man. If y'all haven't listened to Ty Tribbett, the Lord is judging you.
We went to a Travis Green concert.
That was lit.
That was so lit.
That was lit. We had so much fun.
Yeah.
We had fun.
We should give him like an honorary mention in this.
Yes.
Because I do like him.
Right. The vibe whole time was 10
At the concert.
until
Yeah.
the end of it was so good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the intermission, mad good.
Everything was
good. It was really, really
yeah,
good.
we really enjoyed it.
So, yeah, hopefully we can start doing back those stuff that we enjoy doing. Traveling
COVID. But yeah, hopefully soon. So let us know what you're listening to. We want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know who we should check out. So today is Between the Verses.
Yay!
You know that's one of our favorite episode types. So
I love Between the Verses.
right, we're hyped.
We're not going to talk about how much fun we've had just recording this. Like, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I hope that after we go through whatever story that we're going to talk about, that you go back, and I hope that you are envisioning what we saw and even more.
Yes.
Because it was fun. It was fun reading.
It was. So, March is Women's History Month.
Right.
So it's, very appropriate that the star of Between the Verses is a woman.
Of course. Of course.
And her name is
Queen Esther.
Queen Esther. And I love the name Esther because it's
Your
my
aunt.
grandmother's name.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, my grandmother's name. Queen Esther, as my mommy calls her. So, yes, Esther.
Yeah. It's funny. Let me tell you how we were supposed to do this thing.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this story all week. Because Sabbath, the message was on this. Yeah. And I was like, yo, we should do this. But when we were talking about it, I was like, I don't know if Camille's going to want to do that. I was so busy, I didn't even mention it. And then Camille texted me. She was like, yo, let's do Esther. I'm like, fam, get out my head. Get out my business. That's exactly what I was going to say.
She did say that. She's like, why are you in my business? I was like, what? I'm just saying what we should do this week for the podcast. So, it was divinely ordered. We should do Esther. We both thought about it separate and independent of each other. So it was meant to be.
So that's what the Lord rests upon our hearts. That's what we're doing.
Period. So without further ado.
Poop.
Esther. So I always gotta do my little background piece.
Yes,
I love setting the historical stage, So, scene, we've got 100 years after what we call the Babylonian exile. So the Jews are in, the Jews are captive. So we're 100 years after that. And Jews left, but some stayed. Right. So the story takes place in this area where they've stayed. So we have a Jewish community, and they're living in a place called Susa, which is the capital city, basically, of Persia. Right. And of course, the star of the story is Esther, and she also has a cousin, an older cousin, Mordecai. And then we've got the king. Something to know about Esther is that her great uncle is David.
Right.
So, so also by saying that, we know that through her, she's a part of the genealogy of Jesus. So those are things to know about her.
Right. It's so funny. This story kind of got us all hyped up. So let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Okay, well, let's talk about the book itself. Like,
right.
In terms of the Bible, biblical text, this is the only book of the Bible
that God's name wasn't mentioned.
That God's name isn't mentioned.
Right.
And it wasn't until we did our in-depth study for this that I even realized, like, wait.
True. It's the only book in the Bible that God wasn't mentioned.
Right,
Lord.
They didn't even say God's name.
Jesus. Nothing like that wasn't mentioned.
Right.
But they did talk about prayer and fasting.
They did. No, not that there aren't spiritual, there's definitely milestones in there, but then.
But God's name was never mentioned. But I love that.
Yeah.
Right? Not that I don't want the Lord's name to be mentioned.
Right.
But you can now see, okay, even though he wasn't mentioned, like, dude was right there.
Right, he's all up in there.
Like, he is all up in there.
Right.
And I think when we put ourselves in a situation where we can be swarmed with cares and worries of this world,
yes,
bills and children acting crazy and all those different type of stuff, and we feel as if God is not in the midst.
Right. He's absent or silent. We feel.
Right. That's what we feel. We can't see him, but ultimately he is doing the work, and he's setting us up, and he is laying up promotions, and he's laying up all these different type of stuff. But we can't see him. Well, we just got to be patient. Okay?
Yep.
We just got to be Yo,
patient.
Let me tell you, God, you're a real OG. You know that. But yes, it shows that, yes, even though he wasn't mentioned, that we can see acts of him, how active he was, how he planned, how he orchestrated everything to...
You can still see his hand.
Yes.
Yep. I agree.
Right. So...
Okay. So we open up the story, right? And so you've got King Xerxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have King Xerxes. we have the same perspective as it relates to who he is. Dude was mad. I don't know. He was a drunkard. Like
he liked to party. His whole attitude is like, turn down for what?
For what? Like,
for what?
Turned out for what?
For why?
Do you realize how long they partied for? They
Okay.
were partying for 187.
Because there was 180 days. He has all the nobles. And what are they partying for? Just simply to say,
I'm great.
We can. And we're rich.
Like,
so here's a 6-month party.
where the money resides is here.
Where the money resides. Exactly. That is exactly. They're just like, oh, hey, we're rich. Let's throw a party. And I'm just wondering, like, what do you do for 180 days?
Like, currently, these kids be partying over the weekend and they're like done.
Right.
Can you imagine partying for 180 days?
It was
straight?
just like drinking, eating, dancing, sleep, repeat.
Yeah.
Every day.
They got no colleges, no schools.
No,
they
nothing.
were living their best life. Dang.
And it was all the nobles, like, so, of course, the society, it was men, partying, and then the queen and her peeps,
Yeah, she had her own thing.
But right, in another place. But I'm just thinking 180 days.
So after the 180 days, they went back after that and did the 7 days.
Right, because he had the 180 days was for the nobles, and then the 7 days was for everyone in Susa. Right.
Right. So I'm like, dude, like, y'all don't work? Like,
no, they're nobles. He's the king. What you mean?
Like, we gotta go to work Monday morning.
No, not the nobles.
Right. So they are partying. Dude had the 180 days. They're partying.
They're partying. They're turned up.
The queen, who is Vashti at this moment, she's in there turning up with her girls, having a good time, girl. Doing what they do.
Right.
Makeup, beautifying, everything, period.
Spa treatments.
Yes. Yeah. They have their personal masseuse coming in. Girl, it's your day. Petty, Manny, what's good? Right? And so after that 180 days, they now have the 7-day feast, right? Yeah. So during the 7-day feast, dude was having fun. Dude was drinking. Dude was nice.
Okay.
He was lit with the wine.
Right.
And so he was like, yo, like, y'all need to see my girl.
Y'all need to see my queen.
Y'all need to see my queen.
Right.
I should have her come out here and display her beauty. Right?
Right. He's showing off.
Right.
Right. It's his party. It's his kingdom. Let's show off.
Right. Right. Because he's rich.
Right. Right. He can have any woman, and he chose the most beautiful one. So,
period.
Let's all marvel at her.
Yeah.
Right.
So he now sends...
So he sent for her.
Yeah.
She said, don't...
She was like, send for who? Excuse me?
You don't do that.
Like, he summoned me? Mm-hmm. She was like, it's a no for me.
Oh, yeah. She was like, hard pass.
She was like, no one summons the queen.
So you think that the women's liberation movement started at the end of, in the late 60s.
No.
But nah.
Queen Vashti was doing her own thing.
Queen Vashti was like, no, you want me to just come out here and parade for you
guys?
I am more than my body.
Right. I'm more than this face.
Right.
I am more than just a person.
I mean, I get it. I get it. I mean, they've been partying.
Yeah,
for a very long time.
I get that.
There's been drinking. They're men. It's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's like
I think you can look at it from both ways too.
Yeah.
Like, he's not, like, for me, when I look at it, I'm like, okay, like, Queen Vashti, like, I get it. Like, I get it, girl. Like, you don't want to be walking up and down with nobody.
Right.
But dude simply just want to show off his girl.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. Right? Because I think currently now, like, females are all into, oh, my boos are supposed to be on social media. My boo hole in my hand or whatever. Like, you want your man to show you off.
Yeah. So
we're looking at a different time where he's like, yo, y'all gotta see my girl. Yo, y'all gotta, she's bad. Yo. And she's like, excuse me? No.
You think she had her girls, like, you think they were like men bashing, and
Of
like,
course.
and then her girls were like hyping her up, like, no, no,
Of
you
course.
ain't gotta do
That's what we
this.
do. It didn't start just here.
You ain't
No.
gotta go, girl.
You're better than this girl. No. Watch all them walk out of the palace with her together. And they're like, girl, you shouldn't have done that. After they done hyped her up.
They're like, oh, I would have just gone.
Right. So they go back and they tell King Xerxes like, yo, she said she's not
Said
coming.
no. So he gets mad.
And everybody was like, yo, you gonna let her diss you like that? You gonna let her talk to you like that, fam?
And we'll see other moments like this, but this is the first moment I see in the story. I just feel like he's wishy-washy. Like, I feel like he's just
Oh my gosh.
so easily
Influenced.
influenced and
Yeah.
bendable, and he's just like, oh, what? Oh, yeah, I should do that. Or, oh, that's a good idea.
Most
Like, he's just...
I am yet to see him come up with a plan for himself. Like the whole 10 chapters.
Right.
I haven't seen dude make one decision. Mm-hmm. Every decision that he makes is influenced by somebody else.
Right.
So,
I mean, he's a king, but
and he
it
has
just doesn't
counsel.
seem like
Yes,
he has
but
backbone.
yeah,
Backbone. Like,
I don't know what that was. But anyways, dudes were like, "You say you want to let her talk to you like that? Do you know what this could cause?"
Right. So then he asked them, okay, what's in the rule books? What's in the law that'll allow me to, like, what are my choices here? So they convince him to have her, like, removed from her position.
Yeah.
And then I think he did something so petty. Like, they send people out to, all the corners of the land to speak in their own languages, to make a decree to say, oh, hey, make sure that if you're a man, you're the master of your household.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was mad petty. Like, what are you doing?
Why? For
Made
what?
a whole decree to say, hey, wear the pants, man. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
But I think they got scared too, because they're like, yo, like, do you know if you let her stay here, like, a lot of women are going to start, like, talking back to their husbands? Like, this can't happen. Like,
They're like, they'll hear what the queen did, and then they'll start standing up to us, and
Yep.
we can't handle that.
right, we can't handle a whole bunch of women talking
Empowered.
back. Right. Having a voice? How dare they? What?
That's so horrible.
Y'all shouldn't speak.
Right. So
Girl.
here's where, enter Mordecai and Hadassah, which is
Hadassah.
a Hebrew
Yes.
name.
Yes.
But Esther. So this is where they come in, because now, his queen is gone. So he can have this entire competition, beauty pageant like, contest for a new queen.
Let me just say this,
Yes.
because I'm going to say this.
Oh no. I think I know what you're going to say.
I'm going to say this.
Because you've been salty about this.
I'm salty. I'm salty. I'm not going to lie. I'm salty.
Okay.
Like, I don't like the fact
Uh-huh.
that they could just be like, yo, okay, so we're looking for a queen. Like, pick up all the virgins and, like, come on.
Right.
Why do they get to have virgins? Like,
That's that's the, what's the word? The height of, desirable,
but I
worthy.
I
No.
just don't think
You
that,
don't like that part?
most of them deserve it. Like, most of them out here living their best lives, doing whatever they want to do, and they end up getting virgins for
Yeah.
what?
That's how it works.
And he has the audacity to talk about, oh, send all the prettiest virgins out of... Like, no, who do you think you are? I mean, you're the king or whatever, but jeez. I was mad
That
salty
bothers
about
you,
that.
huh?
Yes.
You think the virgin should get
What does she
someone
get? You
pure
can't
as
even...
well?
Right now, she can't even speak right now. So what exactly does she get? But
Gets chosen
I
by
guess
the king.
Esther kind of like changed the whole situation. So let's jump more into...
Right. So,
Into
all the girls are gathering, all these young ladies are gathering, and I mean, we know what happens. Basically no one compares to her, and you can see that there's something
about
there's
her.
just something about her.
Yeah. They said in the story, well, through our readings and our research, they said that the woman took 12 months to prepare, right? So they were beautified using oils and stuff like that. And Esther, girl, when I see you, I'm gonna need them oils that you use, boo. I'm gonna need them oils. I heard there's myrrh in there, but there's some more in there that we need.
You
But
try to cop her beauty recipes.
That girl had that man smitten. I needs to do that.
Yeah, they spent several of those months bathing in perfumes and just prepping to be presented to the king.
But also, I think Esther, like, I feel as if I don't. So we talked about this, right? I don't think it was just her beauty.
Yeah.
I feel like there was something else that drew people to her because remember in the story, you constantly hear them say she was favored. Like everybody that saw her favored her. And I'm like, wow, okay. She was given like the best. Right. So I'm like, okay, it cannot just be her beauty. Like she was pretty, yes. Right? Girl was more looking good. I feel like there was more to it. Like, not only did she find favor from other people, but I also feel like God's favor was on her.
Right. She had supernatural favor.
Yeah.
On her. Even just, like, on her life, but even just when she entered the room, it's like, something special.
Drop dead. Gorgeous. But not only that, but she's pretty. But when she walks in,
when
it's
she
like,
carries herself.
Yes.
And then when you speak to her, you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, girl.
There's substance there. There's kindness there. Yes. That's what I see too. Yeah.
When she speaks, you're just like, oh yeah. It's like her voice is like a harp. I see you, Esther, girl. I see you.
Well, we know the king definitely thought that.
Girl, that boy was smitten.
It was over when he saw her. So,
yes.
Okay, so she's the queen. And I guess... So we get to this point where Mordecai becomes it switches to Mordecai being, instrumental in the story. Right.
So when he sees her, she becomes the queen, right? Because he's like, yo, I got to get her.
It was over, right?
Over for it. Coincidentally,
yeah,
Mordecai just happened to walk by and hear 2 guards planning to assassinate the king. Right. So now Mordecai's presence, because before, he was just merely mentioned, right?
Right.
So now his whole role, it starts to magnify, right? So now he's like walking past, he hears 2 guards planning to kill the king.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, yo, I gotta tell Esther this. So he now goes, tells Esther, and Esther was like, oh my gosh, I have to tell my hubby. She runs. She tells her husband. He investigates it. Found out it was true.
Yes.
Dudes got dropped out.
Right.
Period.
Mordecai saved the king's life.
Right.
Exactly.
So he saves the king's life. And I'm going to come back to this because this is very important.
We have to come back to that.
So we have to come back to this particular point because we have a point that we want to make.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
So Haman, right? Haman now is introduced. Now he is the menace.
Yes.
He is a menace. And so now he comes in and his part is just, dude was just doing too much. He was just doing too much.
Yeah. He thought a lot of himself and all of the officials, would bow down to him and show him respect whenever he was passing.
Right. So he was promoted to the second highest in command.
Right. He was over all of the other nobles.
Right. And so he felt it was just, he felt that it was just right for everybody to just bow to him.
Right.
But my dude, Mordecai was like, bow to who? For what?
Right.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah. Do you know the God? Well, he didn't say this, but he's a Jew. You know the God I serve? Like, Yahweh, I'm not going to do this.
Exactly.
This is a man.
And it's funny because in my head, there's a whole scene that played out.
Okay.
Like, dude came up and, everybody bowed. And Mordecai was like, why y'all bowing? He was like, yo, this is Haman or Haman. Like, why you not bowing? And he was like, is he somebody important? He was like, yeah, that's second. Oh, okay, cool. What's up, dude? Mordecai just like fist bumps him. You good?
Puts his hand out. Dap him off.
Yeah, because I'm not bowing, but you good?
I'm sure that Haman did not return that.
Then Mordecai was like, all right, cool. Dop himself off. I'm like, oh, all right, catch you later, man.
Right. That was just a thorn in Haman's side. He could not take that.
He was mad about it.
Right.
He was so mad. Like, he was wrath. The Bible says he was... I'm like, for a bow? You're not even the king, though.
Yeah. No, but he's full of himself. So then he finds out...
I low-key feel like he was a narcissist.
He is. He definitely is. You can see it throughout the story.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He thinks everything is about him.
Right. So you said you were saying that.
Yeah. So he finds out.
Mm-hmm.
He finds out that Mordecai is a Jew.
Yeah.
So then he's like, ha ha, I know what to do. And the king is wishy-washy. So all it takes is a little bit of suggestion. Just a little bit, because he's easily swayed. So, he's just like, oh, hey, let me tell you something.
Let me talk to you real quick.
Let me tell you something.
But before we go there, right? Let's talk about the history of just like Jews and Haman's descendants, right?
Right.
So
Haman is actually a Canaanite. Like,
right.
He actually comes from a line of Canaanites,
right?
And specifically Amalekites, right?
Right. So Agag or Agag, right? So he's from Agag descendants, right? So if you read 1 Samuel, I think it was chapter 15, you get the whole story of what like his bloodline, right? So in that particular, in 1 Samuel, God gave Saul instructions. He was like, yo, go wipe out all the Amalekites. Nobody left, right?
Right.
And if you guys know anything about the Amalekites, they were the ones who were oppressing God's people, Jews, Israelites, right? Oppressed them, took all their lands. Dude was enslaving them, right? So now God is like, yo, wipe out everybody. Leave nothing. No goats, no cow, everybody. Dog, chicken, everybody dead, right? He's like, don't leave anything. Everything. Nobody. So Saul goes there, and Saul was like wiping out everybody, right? And Saul came up to Agag, and he was like, you know what, dude? I like you. I ain't gonna kill you. Then he saw some cattle or whatever. He was like, man, these skulls are fat. I can't kill them. So now he disobeys God.
Yeah.
So in the book of Samuel, of course, God is communicating to Samuel, because Samuel was a bad man. Like, Samuel was bad.
Okay.
Right? So now he comes back, and he was like, Samuel sees him, and Samuel was like, yo, what are you doing? Like, why are they alive? Like, what's going on? Saul was like, so see, what happened was, I was going to kill them, but I'm like, hey, this is my dog. Like, why am I going to kill him? Now Samuel was mad. Samuel was like, are you serious? Samuel kills them. Right? So now you have Haman's descendant wiped out by a Jew. Right? So I think the hatred for Jews is coming from that angle.
From the history.
Right. Even though it's like 100 centuries before that, I still feel as if they already know in history this was what took place. Because, of course, they were fighting against the Jews. Amalekites and Jews were fighting for years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to highlight that there has been animosity between those two groups of people.
Between their... Right. That makes sense.
Right. So not only is he like, yo, this Jew not gonna bow to me? Like, who do you think you are? Right? So he goes now to the king, and then and
then he's like, okay, we gotta wipe these people out, because they might rise up, and we can't let that be.
Right. The king is like, yeah.
Because he's easily swayed.
I don't know what. I feel like he did nothing at all. Like, Esther, I'm not coming for your boo, girl. I'm just saying, dude was just, I don't know what dude was.
You say you're not coming for her boo?
No, I ain't. But I'm just saying, though.
Yeah, so he signs, he puts it into law that on the particular day, he rolls the dice. On this particular day, we're going to wipe him out, We're
right.
Gonna take him out. It was a date like 11 months in the future, basically.
Right. So in my head, I'm just like, okay, you're the king. Like, you didn't ask for anybody's advice as to what exactly you're doing. You just heard one man's decree, and he's like, okay, yeah, that's cool.
No, that was his chief noble. He was like, all right, cool. That sounds good.
That doesn't sound good. Right? So now all the Jews in the land, well, the decree goes out to all the land, and the Jews therein are all hearing about it, and of course, they're in a panic. You know what's funny? It's not funny, but I felt Mordecai's reaction to the news when he heard that, all the Jews were going to be taken out, right?
Yeah.
How he legit, came into the streets and was bawling.
Yeah.
renting his clothes, and I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just can't imagine. Like I wish I could see him, like right there and then,
Mm-hmm.
like the emotions that was going on, and just like how they mentioned how the Jewish people like legit fasted and prayed.
Right.
I wanted to see what that looked like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wanted to see, because I think now like fasting is so, from my perspective, it's so watered down.
Mm-hmm.
I feel there's not enough emphasis placed on fasting anymore, and I think that is, like, honestly, when I fast,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different, it's a different feeling. I'm not kidding you, friend. It's a different feeling you get
Yeah.
when you are in the presence of God, and that's the only thing that you're thinking about, and you're praying constantly, like throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you wait. There's something about 12 o'clock prayers too. It be hitting different.
Noonday prayer.
No, like the midnight
The
prayers.
midnight hour.
In the midnight.
Oh no. Oh Lord.
No, they hit different though.
Right.
They hit different.
Okay.
Right? So, right. So, Mordecai hears this. He comes out. He's renting his clothes. He's crying. He's begging. He's pleading. Because they're about to be wiped out. Right?
And then
Esther,
there's an exchange of messages between, because she lives in the palace. She's
Yeah.
the queen. So he's not always, she's not always accessible to him.
Yeah.
So they send messages back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you have these infamous, lines in the story where Mordecai is like, you have to do something, because what if you were set up in this position for
a time
such
like this.
a time as this, the infamous line. And she's like, I mean, I can't imagine, like, Esther's like, I'm gonna die either way.
She said, if I perish, I perish.
If I
I'm
perish,
like,
I perish.
okay, oh, gee.
Right. He's like, don't think that because you live in the palace, you're not gonna get killed as a Jew. They're gonna find out. So she's looking at two things. She's like, okay, either the day will come and I'll be killed as one of the Jews, or I'm gonna walk up into the king's throne room and die, because you're not allowed to approach the king without being summoned. Mm-hmm. So she's gonna have to now get in his good graces she has to go there without being summoned in order to request the help. So she's like, I want this option.
And both of them are going to end up in the same result. So
I gotta give it a shot, because if I perish, I perish. Because
if I perish, I perish.
The options, it looks like a lose-lose situation here.
But I love that before she acted, she fasted and she prayed.
She did. She's like, okay, guys, 3 days. Give me 3 days and 3 nights. Let's do this.
And not only her, but the people in her chamber.
Exactly.
The ladies in her chamber. And I love that. I love that, she sought God in the midst of all of this. Right. So a girl.
Even though they never said his name.
Even though they never said his name.
Never said Yahweh. Never said God. Okay.
Right. So now Esther walks up to the king. Right. Girl is nervous, shaking. I'm thinking, because you could potentially lose your life.
Right. He could just catch him on a bad day, like, no.
First of all, off with her head. I'm sorry. Like, you approached me and no. But remember, the story said they haven't seen each other for 30 days. What exactly is that marriage looking like?
Well, girl, this is old Bible times, and also royalty. Like, they weren't always.
But maybe that was good though.
What, absence makes the heart grow fonder kind of thing?
Yes, make the heart grow fonder.
But this is where you see that. I don't know if it was lust or love. I mean, I think it was love, though, because, she had that supernatural favor, and there's just something about her. But when that girl walked up in there, he was like, I can't even take it. Here, touch my scepter, girl. He was like,
I love my boo.
It's fine. Ain't nobody gonna hurt you. And then he's like, what you want? He didn't even let her answer, though.
Yeah.
He was like, what you want? You want this? You want that? You want... Girl, if you ask for half my kingdom, I'll give it to you.
I'm like... What?
I would have forgotten what I walked up in there to
Facts.
ask.
Girl I was fasting and prayed for 3 days.
I would have been like, wait. Half your kingdom though?
Did you say that though? Half? I mean, okay.
That's the sin in us talking.
What is yours? Mine, I guess. Okay.
I mean, he was in love.
He was smitten by that girl.
Girl, I give you half my kingdom. Just say the word. You looking so fine.
He said, what you want? Huh? You good? All right, you sure? I can give you this. No, I can give you this. Yo, you want half of my kingdom?
Right.
I'm like, calm down, dude.
She's probably like, No, baby, that's not why I came here, sweetheart.
So modest. Like, yeah, I'll take that too, but what I really came for.
Oh, I think that's so funny. Girl, you're so fine. You have whatever you want. What you need?
Can you imagine?
The power of a woman, huh?
Right. I'm telling you. So she was like, no, honey. I just want to invite you and Haman to a banquet.
Look
I
at that
prepared for you
strategy.
guys."
Look at that
Right,
wisdom.
right. Girl, I see you. She said, no, love. Can you imagine them speaking it in their accent? I don't
What
even
was their
know.
accent?
I don't. Why are you asking me questions like this? I don't know. I know it's not Jamaicans. So she says, no, I just want to have dinner with you and Haman.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So Haman, she says that. She was like, I'm just wondering if you'd like to have dinner with me and Haman. He didn't even answer. He was like, yo, hey, go tell Haman to make haste because Esther, Esther's preparing a dinner for us. Tell him to hurry up and come.
Right.
He didn't even say, yes, we will come, or yes, it's okay.
Right.
He just like, yo, go tell Haman we having dinner.
Right. She prepared a banquet for us, so let's go.
Right.
They go straight to the banquet. They're drinking wine. And, the king says it again. He's like, okay, now, what did you really want? I mean, half my kingdom is yours. Just say the word.
I'm like, dude, you really want to give up this kingdom badly,
No,
huh?
he just loved her that much. He loved that girl.
That's the girl. Let me tell you this, okay? You got it, girl. You got it, girl. Man.
He just love her like that. Love. Not love.
Love. That's deeper. Love is deeper.
He loved that girl.
Oh,
okay,
my gosh.
so he's like, what do you really want? And she just says, okay, just come to a second banquet.
Yes.
And then
Right.
I'll tell you
Right.
what it is.
Right.
And so then we follow Haman home.
That dude with his stupid self. Haman goes home.
Yeah.
And he's like, he goes to his wife and he was like, yo, so let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what the king done did for me. He's talking about all his promotions, all his riches, all that he governs over.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like talking about how him and the king, he's like so high and mighty that the Queen Esther prepared a banquet and it's just for him and the king. That's the only two people that are present.
I can
and
hear
he's
him.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, you just hold up yourself.
I can
Shut
just hear
up.
him saying, I can just hear him like, no, not just anyone can come. I mean, it was just the king and the queen and me. Like, not anyone.
Do you see how big this is?
No one else.
Like, do you know how good? Like, do you know how big you have to be?
Right.
To even be like in the presence of just like I'm fire out here. Like,
but then he goes all sickeningly dramatic and he's like, oh, but it's just worth nothing as long as I have to put up with Mordecai,
right,
the Jew at the gate. I'm like, oh my gosh,
so
so dramatic.
You just finished bragging about how much you own,
He
but
is
Mordecai is really digging
Right.
in your skin.
That deep of a thorn in your
His
side that
mere existence,
right, is ruining your high. Like, you've got to be kidding me. And then you see why it's so important to have good people around you and a good partner. We always talk about how your partner can influence you. So here his wife and his friends are like, well,
you can just be like Gallo.
let's just, do something when you can get him killed soon. It's like, wait, what? That escalated quickly.
Very quickly.
So here
Bad
you have
influence.
a group of people planning and plotting Mordecai's death.
Mordecai ain't do nothing to nobody. He just not bowing to nobody. That's what he does. He's
Right.
a G out here.
And they're saying Mordecai would be killed the next morning, like before the banquet.
Right. Right. So now it's funny how now that is happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the night
Yes.
before the next day, before the banquet,
Before the second banquet.
it happens that the king couldn't sleep. Now I don't know.
It just so happens.
It so happens
right.
that he could not sleep.
But we know coincidence is not a thing, right?
No.
And even though they didn't say God's name,
No.
it just so happened that the Lord troubled the king's
Exactly.
sleep. Even though the writer, who we don't know who the writer is of the book of Esther,
Right.
but the writer decides to say, the king had trouble sleeping. But
Right.
I think when you read between the verses, the
know.
Lord troubled his sleep.
Yeah. And then he says, so he asks for one of his servants to read
Right.
him the
The records.
Right. I think it was Chronicles. Yeah.
The Chronicles?
Yeah, I think it was Chronicles. They mentioned that, because I think that's where Mordecai's whole story was recorded
right.
with of him saving the king.
Right.
Now, who asked to read scrolls?
I think that's why he did it. Because he's like, I need to go to sleep. Read something boring. Read the history of the kingdom. That's what he did.
True. So the servant is reading this, right?
Right.
And now he's reading, and
he just so happens to turn to the page.
Right.
That describes.
I mean, how big was this book of Chronicles that they were reading?
I don't know.
Right. So he happens to stumble up on the part where he was saved by Mordecai, right? Because when they were trying to assassinate him, right? So now he's like, oh yeah, this dude saved my life like a couple months ago.
Girl, that part got me. I was like,
so
you just forgot this man saved your whole life. You just, oh wait, did we thank him? Did we send him a thank you card? A
Not
bouquet?
even that.
Something.
We didn't? Oh dang. Right. All right. We gotta hook dude up.
Right. But of course we can see that it's being divinely ordered in the timeline as appropriate.
Yes.
But it was comical to me. I was like, oh, so you just forgot.
Somebody saved your life. Like you were about to get hit.
Right. So his people are like, no, we didn't do anything for him yet.
So remember we talked about we were coming back to this particular verse.
Right.
Because I literally looked at it as delayed gratification. Right? Just because I feel so many times that we are doing what we need to do, and we're serving and we're praying and we're worshiping.
Yeah.
But yet we cannot see the fruits of our labor. And not that we're doing it because we want God to bless us, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, because in his words, you see where once you do what you have to do, right? If you seek him first, then everything else that you want will be added unto you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we are trusting in his words to help us through our trying times. But as we're going through the trials, as we're doing what we need to do, and we're not seeing the fruits and all the things that we need, the rewards that we need, it can be discouraging. Yeah. But at the same time, our timing is not God's timing. And so he's saying, if you just hold on and wait, like there's something else that down the road, you may not see it right now, but down the road, there's a huge promotion that is coming, and I need you to be patient, right? As we come up to that, right?
Right.
But I also think that just by how noble and how trustworthy Mordecai was, it helped a lot, right? When it comes to promoting him.
Yeah.
Right? So now he's like, yo, we got to do something for dude. Like, he can't just save my whole life. Like, I'm the king out here. Dude saved me from a whole assassination. Like, we have to help him.
We have to do something.
Right.
And then once again, by complete chance, of course not, but we have Haman coming in, which, the timing of this. But he's coming in to make a request because, he's got this whole plan to get rid of his arch enemy.
Right.
So he doesn't care what time it is. He's like, I gotta talk to the king so I can set this up in the morning and then I can be free to enjoy the banquet. So he's coming in to talk about what he wants. But of course the king has just been reminded about Mordecai. So he's like, who's out there? He's like, oh, it's Haman. So Haman enters and he's like, hey, I gotta ask you a question. So of course, you default to what the king wants to discuss.
Of course.
And he's like, what would you do? What would you do? If someone did something for me, what would I do to honor him? And he just forgot the whole plan. Haman forgot what he came to ask for because of his narcissistic personality.
Exactly.
And he was like, oh,
he's talking about me. It has to be me. Like,
who else? Who else has dinner with the king and queen?
So now he starts talking about what he thinks that person should get. And guys, because he is thinking...
Is the most... comical, ironic.
Full of himself.
This is the most ironic thing. He's describing what he would love to enjoy. He's going all out, and he's like, and then you do this. And put him on a horse that you've ridden yourself.
Yes.
And
parade him through the town. Right. Doing all of those different... I'm like, wow, dude, calm down.
Yes, and give him your robes. He's thinking of all the things that he would love, right?
And
I cannot imagine
when dude was like, okay, so here's what you gonna do this for Mordecai.
Can you imagine
how his heart dropped to his foot bottom?
His foot bottom. I mean, that boy was like, excuse me?
At a who?
Can you say that again? The very man that you entered the king's chamber to ask for his execution has now become the king's favorite man he wants to honor.
Mm-hmm. And you have to take him to the town. Like, you literally had to walk him on the horse, right? Through the town.
Not only did you give him the idea that you wanted, the way you wanted to be treated, and now you have to watch Mordecai. No. Not only do you have to watch Mordecai go through it, you have to escort him.
In front of your wife and your peoples that you were talking bad about.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
In front of the kingdom.
Everybody. The people who you required to bow to you, they're watching you escort Mordecai. Now, if that isn't God,
don't mess with God's people.
If they hate on you, I'ma elevate you. Stop playing with my peoples. That's how God does. God says, hey, don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're gonna face some hard times, but don't worry about it. I got you. They can't touch you. You are God's anointed. They can't touch you.
And that's that piece you wanted to talk about where Mordecai had to wait.
Right. He has to wait. And now this is the fruit of his labor. Mm-hmm. He is now reaping what he has sown. Right. So this is what I'm talking about when we say, patience, that's virtue.
Right.
I mean, sometimes I'm not saying it's easy. Honestly.
Right. He did the right thing, whether or not the king was ever going to remember.
Right.
The good deed he had done.
Right.
It was just
who he is.
Right. So Haman is completely humiliated.
Yep.
And his friends have seen his wife is like, you just got to forget your whole plan because now Mordecai is the king's favorite person.
You gonna fall at his feet if you touch that boy. That's what that lady said.
Right. That's she so says, horrible.
They are going to wipe you out if you touch that man.
So let's go to the second banquet.
Right.
This is also very, I don't know. I just find so much comedy in this. I just see a lot of drama.
Everything. You know? I could just imagine
like the level opera, of telenovela. Like, I just see Esther being this actress.
Yes.
And then she's there for, she's being theatrical. Yes. She's like, oh my goodness, king, woe is me.
Woe is me, Lord. Because of my afflictions.
Why is she British?
I don't know. In my head, that's how she sounds.
She's British. Okay.
Right. She says, oh my gosh, king, they are out to take my life. People are trying to kill me. Then the king is like, who dare tries to harm my queen? Right?
And she's like, well,
since you asked.
Dramatic sigh. He's here in our very presence.
It's Haman, that wicked man.
It's just so priceless. I just think the way her delivery was everything. I just think it was one big build-up, and I feel like she enjoyed every moment of uncovering the plan.
With him not knowing a thing.
Right.
And now he's like, wait, huh? What?
He's like, the queen is a Jew? Wait.
So,
right.
I didn't know.
And then the king gets so angry.
He walked outside.
That he had to leave.
Yeah.
He walked into the garden. He had to take a moment to compose himself. Once again, I find this moment funny too. So he takes a moment. He's gone. And so Haman is realizing what a huge mess he has made. What a big mistake he has made. And so he wants to throw himself at the queen's mercy. But he makes the very, very dangerous mistake of literally throwing himself, at her feet on her bed. It's Persia. I'm sure they're resting on colorful silk, and cushions. Right. And he's like throwing himself at her like, oh, please, no.
Have mercy on me, queen, my queen.
So entered the king.
Right there and then.
Mordecai is strewn across Esther and her bed. And he's like,
that's Haman.
Oh, no. Oh, no. He's like, you try to take out my queen. Now you're trying to lay next to her, trying to assault her in my presence. Oh no.
But you see, the thing is now, he didn't even say anything. When he said, oh, so you just gonna, you trying to, are you trying to go before her? Like, are you serious?
Right.
He didn't even say anything after that. They just put it back over his head.
The
like,
guards
dang,
took care of it. They were like, yeah, he's out.
You out. Like, I'm sorry, fam. Like, we tried, but you did. He just, like, died. Right? Like,
It
just
was
like that.
It was a given, right? So then, here comes a eunuch in the chamber, and he's like, "Oh, you know, they were building this this gallows
for
out
my God.
there. You know, they were building it." And so the king's like, "Oh yeah, okay,
Just,
Throw
okay,
him
you
up
can
on
use
there.
that for him. Yeah.
right." And so the very grave he
Yes,
dug
sir.
for someone else
Yes, so.
is now his.
Let me tell you how God works. God don't like ugly. God don't like ugly.
And if I may, just give a brief little historical context for the punishment here. Okay?
Yeah.
I want us to talk about the fact that, you know, we see different versions of the Bible using gallows and saying that he was hung and everything. But let's go back to the Hebrew. The word is actually just referring to tree. Right? And I was reading, like, we're talking about historical text wise now, you know, outside of the Bible, but, you know, supporting historical text. The kingdom of Persia, along with Egyptians and some Assyrians and other nations, had a form of punishment where they hung a pole and then impaled someone on it. Okay? Like, it is as bad as it sounds, okay? They impaled them on it. And so we don't know, right.
If you don't know what that means, please go and research it.
If you're strong enough, you can look it up.
If you cannot handle gruesomeness,
Don't look it up.
Don't
Google it, okay? But basically, we don't know here. So it's mentioned several times throughout the Bible as well. So we don't know. It could mean three things. It could mean a gallows hung like the Western world thinks on a noose. Okay. Or it could be tied to a pole, or it could be impaled on a pole. But since we're talking about the Persian kingdom, historical texts would teach us that it was probably
impaled.
Right, especially by the height of it. That's about 75 feet high. It was probably to impale him.
That's
so
cold.
that is really disgusting.
Yo, my skin shivered. Like, we were looking at when doing our research, we were looking at some of the images, and that was just
it was unpleasant. It was something unpleasant that he had planned for Mordecai, that he experienced himself, and the honor that he planned for himself, Mordecai experienced.
And if you guys look into the act of impalement and how it was done, you will realize these people were cold.
Evil.
Like, they were cold. Like, their hearts were legit stone, fam.
Evil.
Terrible. So, y'all go do your research on that. Make sure you read the book of Esther, because it's not long. Like, Esther is legit.
It's 10 chapters.
10 chapters. Last chapter has like
3 verses.
I don't know why they wasted pages. But anyways, we're not going to talk about the Holy Bible.
Right.
No,
but to wrap up the story, you know, the king had still made a decree about the Jews being killed, and he couldn't go back on the decree.
Right.
But what he did to kind of counteract it.
No, he didn't do anything. That man did nothing.
Once again, look, I think personally that Xerxes was, he was a lazy, alcoholic, wishy-washy king.
Yeah.
A king nevertheless, but he just, so he didn't really write the decree. They wrote the decree, and he was like, yeah,
just put my seal on it. It's almost like you know, in college, like, you would go and you ask certain professors, like, hey, like, can you write a letter of recommendation for me, or like, say for instance, you have, like, you wanted to do something for your job, and you're like, yeah, just write it and I'll just sign it, you know. So in my head, when I saw that, I'm like, dang, that looks like college. When I used to say, hey, can you write me a recommendation? Or can you do this for me?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, just write it. I'll sign it. That's fine. That's exactly what he did.
Right. He's like, you got an idea? Okay, write it up. And then when they brought it to him, he's like, la da da, blah, blah, blah. And then, okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Stamp.
Sign. Like, what? Dude? Seriously?
Right. But so how they counteracted it was that the Jews could defend themselves against anyone who attempted to. So naturally, no one was really going to attempt to. But it was over 2 days, and on day 1, they destroyed Haman's family and anyone who was affiliated with him. And then on day 2, they could destroy anyone in the kingdom who plotted against them. So here we have the rescue of the Jews. And then Mordecai and Esther went a step further and made it basically a
holiday.
national celebration holiday every year to commemorate the event.
I think also too, like, it's so surprising that Amalekites and just other religions or people would come up against like Israelites or Jews, because honestly, you see how many times they see how God has came through for them. Even looking in with Gideon and his people, like, oh my gosh, that was so impressive to see how God used them. And God was like, yo, like, I don't even want a lot of people, because y'all gonna think y'all did this.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I don't want none of y'all getting big headed. So I'm gonna drop all y'all and we gonna use these people. Right. And so because of that, because they saw God's power and the God that the Jews serve, right? They legit started to convert
To Judaism.
to Judaism. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, God. But it was a fear, out of fear.
I'm sure some of them, they were like, okay, I want to be on the right side of history here. So you guys are really powerful. I'm just going to join ranks. But I'm sure there was also some true conversions too.
Yeah.
And so the entire life of Esther has now become a saving rescue to the Jewish nation. It has become a witness for others to join, believing in Yahweh. And then we have Jesus' lineage coming through her. So, I mean, she's a really powerful woman. And if we try to apply this story to today, we just see that you might be in a situation, you might be in a mess, but wherever you are, God is going to use anyone and everyone for his divine purpose.
Right.
You are in this situation for a reason. Even if it's something that you feel you didn't listen to God or you've created a mess, he can still use it for his divine purpose.
Right.
And I think it's also very comforting to know that God is in control.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That anything he wants to happen, anything that's in his plan, it's going to happen. And no human man, nobody can stop him. He's the creator of the universe, and anything that he says should happen will happen. The Haman's in your life, can't nobody stop him.
Absolutely.
From doing what he wants to do with you if you make yourself available. If I perish, I perish.
If I perish, I perish. We have to have that attitude, though. Like, we have to have an attitude to say, yo, I'm going to serve God regardless if I make it out alive or not. And that is so, like, that's a very profound statement to make. But that's a dangerous prayer to pray. But that's exactly what we're called to do, though.
Yeah.
Because if we realize that, hey, this is not... Like, ultimately, everybody wants to live, right? But honestly, this is not our home. Like, this is not where... Like... Ultimately, we're striving.
This is not our final home.
Exactly. We're striving to get to the place that God has gone to prepare right for us.
Yep.
And so we cannot get lost in the sauce, guys. We cannot get lost in, hey, this is, I don't want to do that because I love my life. Like, he says whoever lays down his life, their life for him, he will save them. Paraphrasing. Right?
Right.
So, guys, whatever situation that you're in, whatever circumstances that you're going through, it is for whatever purpose, whatever time, whatever message that God is trying to bring forth, right? And you may not see it right now. And if you are a person who is just waiting on your breakthrough, waiting on God to just alleviate some of your stress and some of your worries, it is coming. Hold on, be patient, right? Your reward is coming, and even if it is something or adversaries or enemies who are coming against you, understand that the Lord says that he's going to make your enemies your footstool, and they have to escort you through the town, right? Knowing that, like, this is how God is going to repay my faithfulness. Yeah. So we have to constantly remain faithful and prayerful, fasting and praying, and knowing that God is still in the midst. Even when we don't hear him, he's still in the midst. All right, you want to pray for him?
Yes. Let me pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us to yet another Between the Verses episode. Thank you for all of the points you've highlighted to us today. And I want to pray for ourselves and for the One Love Nation, that we view our circumstances in life, the places we are, the places we work, the relationships we're in, everywhere we go, as somewhere that you have predestined us to be, and somewhere where we have a divine purpose and calling that you've placed on us. And if it's such a time as this that you have called us to serve, please, our prayer is that we're ready to do so and ready to be used by you. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Episode 15 completed. Period.
Complete.
We enjoy doing it. We have mad fun doing it, and we hope that you have fun as well. Mm-hmm. Please let us know what you thought about the book. When you guys read these stories, please hit us up and let us know. Yeah. Is there something that stood out to you that we didn't cover? Right. Let us know. If you know us individually, text us, and remember to always shout out both your co-hosts. Right?
Thank you guys. We love you.
Love you. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, One Love Nation. Thanks for listening to the One Love, One Faith podcast. We love our listeners, and we hope you will join us again next week. Please share the One Love, One Faith podcast, and always remember that each day is an opportunity to show His love and grow your faith.